All right, so does everyone have the starter project forked and cloned? If not, it's in the iOS13 After Hours channel. So I'm just going to get started here. So again, if I go fast, please slow me down if anyone gets left behind. So you should have like basically a clean project that has nothing in it. Looks just like this. All right, so let's go. So the first thing I'm going to do here is drag in a collection view controller. Let's go to our UI elements and drag in a collection view controller. Let's go ahead and just embed this right away inside of a navigation. There we go. What I want you guys to do is click this title here and name this Mansions for Sale. And then we're going to click on this collection view. Make sure you're here, make sure it has this all selected, and go to the ruler and make sure you can have all of these inspectors. And then once we're here, we're going to go to this width and height. Now sometimes this gives me an issue, so let's just see if it'll listen to us this time. Just go in here and hit 150, 150. Now you see for me, the height doesn't change. So if I go in here, I go to custom, there we go. I don't know why, if maybe it's the update that's making it do that now, but it used to not do it. You just have to usually go in here and you could mess with it all day, resizing it. So just make sure you have it to 150, 150. And then we are going to go to the insets here, and we're going to say 10 for top, 10 for bottom, 10 for left, 10 for right.
Where did you change the type to custom? It's on the cell, right?
Yeah, once you click the collection view, it highlights this all, and you have access to the attributes inspector. Right here, it would say automatic, and it wouldn't have these, but once you click custom, it drops these down. Now, sometimes you can get away with just using these, but other times it will give you issues.
Okay, thank you.
So can we have everyone just make sure they mute their mic, just because I hear some background noise. I'm not sure particular who it is. So now I'm going to do this the way that Spencer said, kind of my way of doing it that I was taught. And I know Spencer a different way today. I've never done his way, not to say it's not a bad way. It's probably a great way. It's just a preference-wise thing. So when we first went through this, what we did was we basically first drag out a view. So drag a UI view. And make sure you're following these steps exactly. And in fact, if you have time to come back and review this project, watch it over again on the recording, write down these steps. I did, it helps. So take the UI view, and once it's there, let's drag it inside of this square. Let's drag it inside, and then we'll pin it. Now make sure it is inside this perfect square. And then we'll go to the pen. You'll know it's there because it'll all be 0. And you'll just click these and add those constraints. Now the reason we're doing this is, like Spencer said, the stack views are very finicky. So we have to add a view, and then we can put in the image view and the label and put them in a stack view. So now what we're going to do is we're going to click here. We're going to go to an image. Drag out an image view from the attributes inspector, from the UI elements I meant. Then we're going to come here. We're going to do the same thing. And we're just going to kind of constrain it to that box, but leave a little bit of space at the bottom for the label. And then we'll go back to UI elements. We'll drag out a label. We'll put this right underneath. So there. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the label, and I'm going to say, I don't know, Castle La France or something. This will just represent what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be the name of the mansion. And we'll just drag this right in there. You can name whatever you want. You can keep it labeled. It doesn't matter. Then we're going to shift click. So we have both of them selected. Then we're going to embed them in a stack view. And it's going to kind of jump off a little bit probably. Oh, oops. Go back. Sorry about that, guys. We have to do one thing which is really important. So let's click this image, and we have to give it a height and a width. Never mind. No, we don't. So let's go back to the original thing. Sorry about that. Shift click. I don't know why I was giving that error then. And then put it into a stack view. And then go to the constraints on the stack view and make these all 0. So 0, 0, 0. There we go. Now another thing we're going to do here to give this label a bit more priority, we're going to click the label. And we're going to go down here. We have the priorities. And we're going to change these to 252 and 751. And then hit enter. And this is on the label. So these are priorities. We're going to make this priority greater than the image view. That way the image isn't shoving the label down when it's launched. Then we're going to go on the image and do the same thing but opposite. So we're going to say 250 and 749. So just take away 1 from each one, just like we added 1 prior to the label. And then once you've done that, go to the navigation controller if you haven't already, and just make this the initial view controller. So does everyone have this set up? Okay. So now that's completed, all that constraint. Now again, they're kind of simple steps, but they're steps that you will forget, especially if you're on tests or anything like that, and you'll kind of not remember what you need to do and all that. You can do it either Spencer's way of the constraining them without the stack view, or you can do it this way where you put them in a stack view. It's all whatever works best for you and easiest, and kind of avoid any headaches that you may have. So now what we're going to do is we're going to drag out a view controller. And we're going to click the cell here, and make sure you have the cell, not the image view, by clicking collection view cell. We're going to control and drag and do a show. Then we're going to name this segue show mansion segue. Then we're going to drag out an image. Now this is going to be the mansion image. And what I want you guys to do is just drag it out just like this. Just something like that. Doesn't have to be anything exact. And then we'll constrain it. And we'll do top, leading, trailing, and then do width and height. Now we're going to drag out a label. We're going to put it right about here with the mansion name. Go to here to the font and make this whatever you'd like. I'm just going to make it big, maybe bigger. Put it right about, whoop, there. And then I'm just going to constrain this. And then I'm going to drag out a button so we can buy the home. Now again, the main point of this project is kind of show you guys what is possible with these collection views and how creative you can get. We could have added a lot of stuff in here. I could have added a price, I could add a description, I could add a location. I want you guys to think of this stuff not only for your Build Week projects, but also maybe even this project over the break. See what you can do, and you can come back in here and mess with this and add even more information or properties or whatever you'd like. I'm just kind of giving you guys a base reference of what's possible with these collection views. So let's go ahead and go to this button here. Let's go down and let's make the background. What do we want to make? Let's make it green. And then we'll go up here to the text color. We'll make it white. And let's just stretch out this button however you'd like it, but don't make it too small. The user has to be able to click on it. And I'll just put it right here. Again, I'm going to go to the font. I'm going to make this a bit bigger. In fact, I'm actually going to make it custom so I can make it bold. And make it about 25. That's too big. 20. There we go. Hit done. And then we want to constrain this as well. And we're going to give it the height and width. So when you constrain this, make sure to give it the height and the width so it doesn't, I suppose you can do the bottom anchor as well. All right. So does everyone have that? I'll take the silence as a yes. And if that is the case, look how quick we just set up that storyboard. Now, the first time I did the sprint challenge that you guys are going to be taking tomorrow, I spent a good hour, if not more, trying to figure out, and I had to pull up recordings, how to do the collection view and everything else. So just shows you, once you get this down pat, you guys can just kind of drill this out. Repetitions is what it's all about. So we're going to move on from the storyboard now. If anyone else has any questions or concerns. So what do you guys think would be next that we do from this point? What's the next step to right away? We want to make our subclass files. So let's go ahead and click in our view controllers. So I made these folders for you guys, these groups. Then we'll just hit Command N, go to Cocoa Touch class, make this a collection view controller subclass, and we'll call this Mansion Collection View Controller. Hit next, hit create, go back to the view controller folder and do the same thing again, Command N. Now this is for the detail view controller. So this is just going to be UI view controller. And we'll call this Mansion Detail View Controller. Hit next. Now we need our custom cell. So let's go to our views here. Do the same thing, hit Command N. This way it's placing it right in that folder for you. You don't even have to do anything. Cocoa Touch class. Now this is going to be a UI collection view cell. And we'll just call this Mansion Collection View Cell. All right. I'll give you guys a few seconds to get that done. All right, so now we need our model. So let's go to this model group folder here. Hit Command N, Swift file. Let's call this Mansion and hit create. This is where we're going to create our model. So we're going to have a class Mansion. Open that up there. Now our mansion had what? It had a name, so say var name string, and it had the image of itself. So we'd say var home image. Now this home image is going to be a type UI image, but I'll have to import UI kit. And we'll have to initialize. So we'll say init name string. Now this is where the image is going to get a bit interesting. We'll just say home image name, which is going to be of type string. So make sure that's home image name. And we'll say self dot home image equals a UI image named home image name. Then we'll do self dot name equals name. And then let's force and wrap that. So does everyone have that? So there, in that amount of time, we just set up the entire storyboard and the model. These are things you will have to do tomorrow. I'm just showing you guys. Once you get this repetitions down, it all is kind of secondhand nature, and you can do it fairly quickly, but it's all about knowing the steps to take and drilling them inside of your brain. As dark as that may sound. So now we have our model. Now we need the controller for it. So let's go ahead and click on this model controller file, hit Command N, new Swift file. This will be a mansion controller. Hit create. We'll say class mansion controller. We'll just basically give it an array of those values. So I'll say var mansions. It's an array of mansion, which equals an array of that model. And this is what we'll add our properties to be pulled to be put in the collection view. All right. So here we'll just say mansion. We'll do this, name, home image name, add a comma, grab this, hit Command C to copy it, and let's do it 1, 2, 3, 4. About 7 times. Okay. Now, when you guys in the repo that I posted, there are asset images. Let me know if you guys see those. It should be in the mansions folder in your repo. Does everyone have those? So what I want you to do is go inside that folder, click the top one that says Colorado, and then shift click and select every single other one: France, Kentucky, Miami, Michigan, North Carolina, Texas, Virginia, and Washington. All right? And now we're going to drag that inside of our assets. So I'm going to go to my assets, just like this, and I'm going to drag these images in. So if my, here we go. There we go, just like that. So I'll give you guys a second to complete that.
Austin, will there you'll post a video of this afterwards?
Yes.
Or, okay, thank you.
That's another reason I'm trying to make this sort of a compressed version of these collection view cells tomorrow. So when you guys start running into an error, you can just pull this video up really quickly and maybe kind of navigate through it and see what you need to do with segues or displays and all that. So has everyone got that? All right. So I'm going to go back to my mansion controller. This is where I'm going to start filling this out. So here's a difference. This name can be whatever. I can name it Bobby. But this name has to be the asset name no matter what. So if I go to my assets and I see, it has to be exactly this for it to be found. So I'll go back into my model controller, and we'll just do this. Miami, and just give each name of the assets that you have. And again, if you misspell any of these, it's not going to be able to find it. These don't matter. The name does not matter. The home image name does, because that's how that UI image is being found in your assets. So we'll just knock these out real quick. Give you guys a second to do that while I'll do it as well. Again, you guys can get really creative with this data. I know this is tedious, I apologize. About done. And I'll still give you guys a few seconds for those who aren't done. All right, so I'll give you guys a few seconds here. And make sure the home image name, can't say it's enough, is spelled correctly. So right before you leave this page, just kind of skim through. Do your best to make sure. All right, so I'm going to move on now. Is anyone still on this right now? All right, so let's go to the collection view controller. Let's delete all this. We don't need that. Right here, we'll make an instance of our model controller. Just like that. And then roll down the number of sections, do return 1. We may come back to this. I just want to see a few things here. So for the collection view, we're just going to return that count. So we'll say mansion controller dot mansions dot count. And then we'll configure the cell. And then we got to go back and give that cell an identifier. So we'll say guardlet cell for use identifier. Just make this a string until we come back if you haven't already. And then we'll downcast that as that mansion collection view cell. Else, what? Put on a new line. Else return UI collection view cell. Now let's go back to our storyboard and give that cell an identifier if you haven't already. If you have, awesome. Because that's what you should do right away. So let's go on the collection view cell. Always go to the file hierarchy. It's a lot easier than just clicking around. We'll just say mansion cell, hit enter, Command C to copy that, go back to our mansion controller, give it that reuse identifier. Then we'll say let mansion equal to mansion controller. Again, we're going to have to pass some stuff in the prepare for segue. So I'll show some differences in that when we do that. So let's say index path dot row. Now you see here, I said dot row. It's not dot row. Dot item. So we're doing with collection view cells.
That one always gets me.
Yeah, it just got me too. I've done this a million times, it feels like. So just little stuff like that when you guys got to look out for. And we'll say cell dot mansion. Oh man, why is it not giving me the mansion? Does anyone know why it's not giving me this mansion right here?
It's not a member of the. Oh, you didn't cast the cell as the custom class, or you did. So then it's not a member of the custom class.
There you go. Good job, Kenny. So yeah, if we need to go to this collection view cell now, everyone can see that correctly. Okay, we'll say var mansion, type mansion, optional, property observer, the did set, update views. Then we'll create that update views. We'll come back to now. What are we forgetting in here? Feels like we're forgetting something, doesn't it? Does anyone know what we're missing here? Our outlets. We need that image and that label. So let's go back to the storyboard. Let's connect all this. So let's hold option click. Go to that mansion collection view cell. Go to the mansion cell. Give it the class. Otherwise, it's not going to connect that. So then we're going to grab that image inside of the stack view, control drag, call this mansion image. We'll go to the label, do the same thing. Mansion name label. Then we'll exit out of this. We'll do the same thing for the detail view control, just so we don't have to come back to it. So let's give this our class name. Mansion detail view controller. Make sure it's detail view controller. Click the image. Mansion image. Click the label. Mansion label. And let's go ahead and grab this button here and make an action. And we'll just say button tapped. And there we go. Now it's a lot easier to do this all up front. It was my mistake not doing it up front. If you're usually creating a project, I would create the storyboard, then right away make the subclass files, set up, connect all the outlets and the actions, and then get right to the code. Saves you a lot of time. So now let's go back to that mansion. This mansion collection view controller, and let's first hit Command B. It's always helpful. Then we'll say cell dot mansion equals mansion. All right, does everyone have that? All right. So now we're going to move on to the prepare for segue. So right here, just write prepare, if I can spell correctly. Prepare for segue, just like that. This will say if segue dot identifier is equal to show mansion segue hardletted index path. Then we're going to say collection view Then we're going to say dot index path for selected items. Index path for selected items. Then we'll hit dot first. Then dot item. Just like that. Add a comma. We're going to do one more. Then we'll say let's select mansion view controller. Select mansion VC equals the segue dot destination, and we'll downcast that as the mansion detail view controller. Else returned. And then we'll say let select mansion equal that mansion controller dot mansions. All right, and this time we're just going to do the index path. Then we'll say select mansion VC dot mansion. And it's not giving it to me again. What could be the issue? Oh, that's right. We have to do the detail view controller. We'll have to pass that sucker in. So everyone go to the mansion detail view controller for me. And we'll just say var mansion type mansion. Spell correctly, mansion. Command B, back to the collection view controller. Go back to this dot mansion. There we go. Equals that selected mansion. So does everyone have that? I'll give everyone a second if they don't, just to kind of catch up. So that's all you got to do in here. Once you have your mansion controller or your model controller, just declare the instance of that, and then just grab whatever's in that array. So this is why I want you to start getting creative, especially with your build week projects, of like what you can do with this. You know, if you're into lizards, if you're into snakes, if you're into planes, you can literally have a plane controller that has an array of planes, the model plane, and all those values. And then you go in here and just pull them all out. You'll follow the same system every time. Just as Spencer said, like you set up a table view, it's the same thing with the collection view. It's just a bit different, but they're very similar. Does anyone have any question about that before we move on?
Yeah, the prepare for segue, it's the same exact one that's commented out, right? Or is it a different one? Do we have to use like a, like at the top, there's one that's like commented, yeah, that one.
Yeah, you could use this one.
Oh, you scared me when you started typing a new one, and I thought I was using the wrong one.
Oh no, yeah, it's just kind of bad habit of mine. Now I just type out those. So yeah, you can definitely just go in here and do that.
All right.
All right, so now let's go to that, back to that collection view cell. All we have to do is just do the update views. So I'll give you guys a second. I know I'm going kind of fast. I apologize. But I think some of you also may enjoy the faster pace. Because again, this is the system you'll follow again and again and again and again. So this is really good to just kind of drill this out. I can't say it enough, guys, because it's really important. It gets to a point where you're doing it in your sleep, where you can literally pretend like you're typing on a keyboard in front of you and type out, you know, guard let this and all that. So it's really important. So right here, we're going to say, speaking of guard let, we're going to say guard let mansion equals mansion else return. We're going to make sure we have that, else we're going to get out of there. All right. Then we'll say the mansion dot image equals the mansion dot home image. Then the mansion dot mansion name label. Oh, I did that wrong, didn't I, guys? Oop. Okay, so sorry about that. Mansion image dot image equals that mansion home image. And the same thing with the label. Or all these mansions are confusing me. They're probably confusing you guys as well. Mansion label dot text equals mansion dot name. So does everyone have that? All right. So let's go ahead and give it a run here. Let me see if I can cram my simulator. It's not letting me, which is all right. So let me share my simulator here for you guys. All right, let me hit it again. There's that launch screen I told you guys about. Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay. Here, I'll show you guys what the issue is. Does anyone know what the issue is before I go right to it? Am I showing on the right project? Oops, let me go to, here we go. So does anyone have any idea? Okay, now I'm on the solutions. All right, 1 second. Does anyone have any idea why that's not working? Anyone at all? All right, so the reason that's not working, because let's go to the storyboard here. So can everyone see my screen now?
Yeah, it's up now.
All right, cool. So let's click this class here. Let's go here and look at that. Would you look at that, guys? Would you guys just look at that? Come on.
Rookie mistake.
Rookie mistake. That's how you lose your job.
I do it at least once per project.
And that's what I want to show you guys. Like, this stuff is what's going to trip you up. I'm telling you, he's not naming the identifiers correctly. That's where you're going to get the Sigma bar errors and all that. So let me now pull up the simulator. Okay, now let's run it. If it doesn't work this time, someone's in trouble. All right, and that looks absolutely awful. So does everyone have this right now? And does everyone's looked like this? Anyone can say anything. I can't see your faces, so. I'm gonna assume everyone has this, what this looks like. All right. So now, let me go back and share this. All right. So now we need to do the detail view controller. So let's go back to our mansion detail view controller. And we're just going to set this up. So now we're going to do the same thing we did in the prior collection view controller, or in the cell, is basically doing an update views. And then we'll call that the view did load. So I'll say func update views. Go right here. Update views. All right. Then we'll say if let mansion equals mansion image dot image equals mansion dot home image mansion label dot text equals mansion dot name. All right. So now let's go to this button tapped. And we're going to do this. Show alert. And then we'll create a function called show alert. All right. We'll say let alert equals UI alert controller. And for the title, I'll give it oops. For the message, I'll say you must be signed in to purchase this home. And then what kind of style do we want? Dot alert, as always. So you create the alert, and you do the alert dot add action. It's going to be a UI alert action. Okay. And that's where we add the title. So we'll say title. Okay. Style.default, and the handler will be nil. And then we just present it. All right. So we just create an alert with those three simple steps. Make the constant for the alert controller, add the action with the alert.addAction, with the UI alert action, and then present it. And then we'll call it whenever that button is tapped.
Okay, awesome. So instead of an action, we could add a timer and just dismiss, right? And we would do it here.
Yeah, and we'll dismiss too here.
All right. Thank you.
So just like Ufuk said, let's dismiss. That way present that and it will also dismiss at the same time. All right, now let's run it. And we may have to fix the collection view layout. I'm not sure why it's expanding so greatly. So once everyone has this, click on the collection view cell and let me know if this is what it looks like. Does everyone have this? And then when you click the button, it'll present that alert. Okay.
I couldn't, like, I can't get it to run since like 20 minutes in, so I'm just following along, so I can't actually
All right,
See
we'll
it.
take a look at your project if you don't mind after we're done, unless you want to just watch the recording. But I'm more than willing to help stay in
No,
touch. with you know.
I'm using the old version of X. This happened with another project that
Oh,
was,
and it's doing the scene delegate thing, isn't it?
yeah. So I'll just
Awesome.
scratch that later with a recording. It's fine.
All right. Yeah, I gotta remember to think of that for people that haven't updated their Xcode to make sure to add a regular version. Sorry about that, George. Okay, so I'm assuming everyone else has this. But again, George, still the same applies to you. Like, especially tomorrow, you're gonna have to do all this. So just these are great steps to follow. So now we have this. That's basically the project. That's basically what I want to do with you guys. Obviously, now I'm going to try to figure out why this collection view is expanding this way. If you can see this.
I think if you try to just give the image view like a set, like width and height, it won't.
Yeah, that's what I thought at first, and then I kind of convinced myself out of it. So maybe you're right. Let's go back, see if we can apply that. All right, so let's go back like Thomas said. Let's click this image. And let's give it a width and a height. And now let's run it. Awesome. Thomas was correct. Hoorah for Thomas. So does everyone have this? And you can click on it and it gives you each one. North Carolina, Washington. Ooh, I want to buy this one. Oops, you can't. You need to be signed in, pal.
I think your dismiss isn't working also because you're using a show seg, so you have to do the pop, the navigation controller pop, not dismiss.
Oh, right. Good catch. So let's go back. So let's go back to that view controller. And let's do pop view controller.
I think you have to call the navigation.
What did you say, Thomas?
I think you have to call the navigation controller dot pop view controller.
Oh, there we go. Sweet. Good catch. So let's run that again. Did I call it correctly?
I think you did.
Can you do the pop like in the show alert function? Like somewhere there?
I'm not quite sure. I don't think it would be impossible. I don't think it's.
I'm not sure. The dismiss or the pop might be something that you have to do in like the completion handler in order for that to work correctly, but that might not be worth going into now.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I'm pretty sure it's on a test tomorrow, so I wanted to maybe possibly cover it for them without maybe giving them the full answer. So let's keep that dismiss in there. Let's see if that. Oh. All right, let's just keep that dismiss in there. And that's my fault. I didn't really think about dismissing the view control. I was more just trying to get the alert to dismiss. But Thomas is correct. You don't want that kind of whole thing to dismiss. somewhere in the project at a time. I think they had that in there as well. So yeah, that's basically the project. And we just did that, you know, in less than 50 minutes or so. Just kind of showing you guys what is possible with these collection views, the kind of stuff that you can put in it. In fact, let me run it one more time. It's probably make it easier for me just to talk about it while looking at it. Now, and when you guys get into, you know, kind of custom layouts and all that stuff, I mean, collection views are limitless. You can do some crazy stuff with that. Maybe I can show you guys some of the projects I've used where I've had to code my own collection views. But I mean, it's just limitless. You guys could have a whole list of stuff here. These could go on and on. This would scroll for you. That's why I added a lot of these. I tried to get that kind of functionality in there, but do I have these spaced out? It's not gonna let me do that. But as you guys saw before, when they're big, you can kind of scroll through them. Then each one you click on passes that information through. So again, you could have your model have something like the price, the location, anything you want, description with a huge description, make this image a lot prettier, make the button prettier, however you want to do it. It's really just up to you and your imagination what you want to do with this. And then with the launch screen and all that, you basically have a really cool build week project already there, not to mention on your sprint test tomorrow. So does anyone have any questions about that or about this project in particular? So while you guys are here, even though that's about it, you guys can definitely hop out. For the ones that stay, I'm going to kind of show where I have coded collection views and kind of show you what is possible. So let me run one of these on the simulator. So no one has any questions?
When will the recording be available?
Probably not till after the test tomorrow. Sorry, George.
All right.
I'm just kidding. I'll post it right tonight. I'll post it as soon as we're done here. So that's basically what I have for tonight.